or outside of the bra right here. So
That's
it
what
had
happens.
this bump.
So if you see my pink, oh, okay, we're on. Here we go. Hi. Okay, we are talking about.
So we're talking about misfitting
Slippage.
Bras
Yeah.
when
I'm
your
just
cha-chas
making sure
jump outside of the cup, and before you know it, they're like in the playground right here.
Right, and so you have to.
I know.
I got to check my. I'm always kind of making sure I'm covered.
So,
You see me doing this? It's like make sure they ain't falling
You know
out.
how designers going whacking the pillow? Camille's like.
Yeah, I'm like.
No, seriously, like bras that snap in the front here.
Yeah.
And that are like a racer back.
Yeah.
I had one on the other day. It was so cute. But I bent over and I came back up and I go, they had literally like jumped out of the cup.
They do.
And normally, you know, we've got them over here. No, they were like joined at the hip.
That's it.
I go, girls.
That's what happens to me. It's like I got to make sure I got to keep them apart.
know.
Yeah, because they will embarrass me.
I had my grandma bra on today because here's the deal. Like I love lace,
need
but
them.
when you wear clothes,
shows through.
It's like lumpy.
Yeah, it is.
Lumpy. And I did buy this one bra that I love, except where the lace meets, it makes you have a nipple like that.
Well, some people wouldn't mind that. I don't want
And
that
I
either.
go.
Yeah, I just got to make sure my shirt doesn't. It's
Yeah.
kind of a weird one. So.
All right, we actually have something to talk about.
Well, it's kind of serious,
besides that.
so maybe we shouldn't talk about this after we talk about that.
No, we are serious. So last
Okay.
night the Miss USA pageant was on.
Oh, yeah.
And I did notice that there was a portion where they videotaped some of the contestants with the Me Too movement. Some of them had experienced it. Some of them had, knew of people. And I think the truth is we all know somebody.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
And probably multiple people.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there was even one girl, she actually was first runner-up, that her platform would have been, if she won, is as your body is your body, not anybody else's. And she was a survival of sexual abuse.
Yep.
You know, and oh my gosh, I take my hat off to any woman, but particularly a young girl that, you know, they're living with a horrible memory that something happened to them that they didn't invite. Now, I'm not saying that older women invite that, but I know that we have a maturity that can deal with things differently than an adolescent, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so too. I mean, yeah, nobody likes the abuse of power stuff going on, but it's like, at my age, I kind of go, well, here we go again.
No, but apparently, in this situation, and this girl had clearly been sexually abused.
Got it.
Somehow, you know, and she didn't go into, I don't know what it was. However, you know, I just was, and we just had a little meeting last week with a handful of teenagers that are surviving sexual abuse. Yeah. And it was such a joy to see them talking amongst each other like teenagers do. They're not broken.
No.
They're not, you know, in fetal position. They are actually using their circumstance. You always say your misery.
Misery is your ministry. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And they're ready.
They love that.
Yeah.
They love
they
that.
love that. They want to go get a tattoo.
Yeah.
I
know, right?
So again, we are talking about, you know, sexual Me Too movements moving forward. Mario Batali, the TV chef.
Oh yeah, a lot of women came out and said he was sexually abusing them.
Yeah. So with these charges coming out, he was dropped.
Well, R. Kelly. Okay. There's a girl that was in a relationship with him, and I heard this morning that she's going to press charges against him for sexual abuse. And there was speculation a while ago, last year, about him. I kind of always thought that. He seemed like he likes young girls, which I was. You know, I just want to say to young girls, and you and I both have young girls. We have, you know, teenagers, that you will be told amazing things. Yeah. You will be told that, or oh my gosh, you know, I love your style, or gosh, you're so easy to talk to. It can go on and on and on. All that good line of bullshit.
Right. That's where I'm talking about the maturity that you and I can look at and go, we've heard that, been there, done that. Right. But to a young girl, especially maybe a girl that doesn't get a lot of compliments in life to begin with, that just means everything to them. But you watch
and they believe
out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they believe it, and then they give something up, and then they regret it. They lose their virginity to these guys that don't really love them. You know, it doesn't mean anything to them, and then they're off to the next conquest. But that's kind of what happens, you know. And we just you gotta teach your children, don't take the bait.
Yeah, and it is bait. And even with like Larry Nassar, you know, his bait was, I can help you progress on your Olympic journey. You know,
Yeah.
whatever I say, you need to do because I know best. And parents, and I get it, you know, as a parent, you're like, this guy is sanctioned by the United States Olympic Committee, so he knows what he's
trust
doing.
Him. Exactly.
Yes.
But you know, the $250 million was amazing. Okay, now half a billion dollars, wasn't it? That they are, and there's 300 and whatever victims, and it's going to be split between them. I think that's a good start. I really think that's a good start. Cosby going into jail, hopefully he makes it there, is a good start. But we are just seeing the tip of this, okay? There's so many men and women that abuse their power.
Yeah.
And we're just starting this. I don't know if you guys know what happened a couple months back in Utah County. And I just went to a hearing with Rocky Anderson, the former mayor of Salt Lake County, about a case that's got 1984, 81? It's 1981, yeah. So in 1981, I guess it wasn't a felony to have sex with a minor. So this blows your mind. Her name is Terry Mitchell. She had two friends. She was 16 years old. Her two friends, her black friends, were murdered in front of her by a serial killer.
White guy.
Yeah, he hated blacks. It was a hate crime. There was a federal prosecutor that was sent to Utah to prosecute this case. He picks her up at the airport. He takes her to the hotel, puts her in a hotel room. Now, this is someone he needs to win this case.
She's a witness.
She is, yeah. She was there when he killed her.
Right.
Yeah. She can identify this man. So he rapes her in the hotel room. And how many years now is this from 81 to now? Okay.
Well, and tells her, I mean, at
Talks
the
her
time,
into-
she's a little 16-year-old, you know, don't tell anybody. You know what?
We'll lose this case.
Right.
This poor girl was so traumatized. And, you know, again, in 1981, it wasn't a felony to have sex with an underage.
Blows my mind. It's a misdemeanor.
So if she told, then number one, she's going to blow the case up. That's what he convinced her of. He went on to be a judge.
A federal judge.
A federal judge, right?
Yeah.
So, and I saw him in court with Rocky Anderson a Monday ago, okay? So here's what's happened. She got him on the phone, and he did admit to raping her, okay? Now, as soon as the charges were pressed against him to change the statute of limitations to basically go after him.
Wait, so tell everybody. So what the issue was with the federal court here in Utah was...
Yeah, okay, so here, I'll get to that. So, but basically she had no evidence that this was true. Nobody believed him. He's a judge, okay? He's got high caliber. No one's going to believe him. She got him on the phone, got it recorded, went to the Attorney General and said, here's my proof. I was raped in 1981. So I want you to take this guy down. They won't. They didn't do anything about it. So then she found Rocky Anderson as her lawyer, and Rocky Anderson said, let's take this and try and civilly sue him, okay? Because here's the problem, statute of limitations. The statute of limitations, I believe, was changed in 2016. Prior to that, you had till age 22 to sue your perpetrator civilly, and if you didn't do it by age 22, you lost and forfeited your future rights to do that. No 22-year-old on the planet is going to be ready to sue their dad or their uncle or whoever, because most of these predators are family members, right? So age 22 is a little young. They changed the law, so I think it's age 35. So when you hit 35, if you haven't sued the guy that molested you or the woman that molested you when you were a child, then civilly. You forfeit your rights civilly. Criminally, rape and murder, there is no statute of limitations. You can be federally, charged with that. You can be criminally charged with that forever. But in this situation, it was, again, he said, she said thing. They didn't have any evidence, and he's on to be a judge.
Well, and he goes on to say she gave consent. She's 16. He's an adult.
Right. You're right.
And the thing is, that wasn't that long ago, if you really want to think about it. That wasn't that long ago. And so you've got a group of adults going, you know what?
Right.
She deserved that. She said, okay, she's a child. Here's my issue.
Yeah, she can't even buy a beer.
Right.
And she can consent to sex at 16. Come on.
With an adult.
With an adult.
Right?
He was like 28 at 29, exactly. So here's what happened that Monday, okay? And it was the 14th of May. So I'm at the Supreme Court with Rocky Anderson, and this is in front of these judges. They took it under advisement. I will update you when we find out the results. But the statute of limitations is hopefully going to be abolished so that she can retroactively sue this guy. Now, you'll still have, I think it'll stay in force, so you have to be 35 to civilly sue your perpetrator. But right now, because this happened before 2016, that law does not cover her. So she does not have the right to civilly sue this guy. But as soon as she filed, charges against him, he retires to make sure he gets his full pension, full benefits, so that he doesn't have to give her any money. That's what he did. Isn't that creepy?
So that just goes to show you that predators are not just
there ain't no guilt there.
The ice cream man,
no,
or woman.
Oh no, he's a judge. He's a federal judge. So another thing that happened.
Well,
that's
he was a prosecutor at the time.
Exactly.
And then became a judge.
But
y'all, those are the two people other than
you should
maybe
be able to
a
trust.
Policeman. You should be able to trust them.
Yeah. But this is the abuse of power I'm talking about. People in powerful places, they have low integrity. They're perpetrators too. So I'll let you know what happens with that. Okay, we'll keep you updated on that. And I'm really hoping that they come back and they get rid of that statute of limitations, and she can civilly sue him. Her evidence is him verbally acknowledging on a recording.
Right.
Yes, this happened.
And
he said he was sorry.
Here's the point. For a victim or a survivor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That memory never ever goes away.
No, it's a life sentence.
It never, and she said that.
She did that.
He gave me a life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was a kid.
Yeah. Can you imagine that poor
She
girl?
was a child. Here's what I don't get. So prostitution is illegal.
Yeah. Right.
How come this was okay?
Good question. Good question.
And so the reason why this is so powerful is it will give back some sense of worth to these victims.
And they can get some justice. And there's a lot of victims that fall into this category where that statute doesn't help them.
No.
But if this is listed, and Brocky Anderson did a great job. He was a phenomenal force. I watched him stand there, and he was articulate. He was composed. The equanimity he presented, he didn't get ruffled. He was challenged. And he just, calmly and jovially just kind of said, here's my argument, Judge.
Because he believes in it.
He does, but he was so professional. He was so good. It was very just well thought out. He thought of every question they were going to ask him. You can tell he did a lot of work on this. I saw he sent me 5 briefs. These briefs, I can't get through 100-something pages. Who writes this stuff? I mean, I'm so impressed.
Right.
The opposing counsel was argumentative and defiant and angry and, who does she think she is kind of energy. It was just, I'm sure he's a great attorney. I think he's probably a really good attorney, but it's like he's fighting them. He was studying cases from 1913 and stuff like that. It's like, this needs to be changed, dude. Your client, of course, doesn't want to be sued civilly, but this needs to be changed. It's the right thing to do.
I've heard of prosecuting attorneys, in the case against a child, say the most horrific things that I think to myself, are you a dad yourself? No. How could you say this child was not sexually abused because she still makes or he still makes straight A's?
Great grades. They're doing good in school.
They're participating.
Has nothing to do with that.
We had a client on today on Fox that was talking about core issues that teenagers are going through that they mask.
Yeah.
And so many times people or situations want to treat the symptom and not the cause.
Yeah. Oh,
so the symptom. Yeah. So the symptom could be cutting, alcoholism, drugs, sex. Those are all acting out ways to divert the pain.
That's right.
And I think to myself, when you've got a prosecuting attorney and they're doing their job, I get it. I get it.
Me too. But
you know what? If you could just stop and think, you were talking about a child that did not ask for this.
Yeah.
And if the idea was, well, it was consensual, you're still talking about a child that doesn't understand.
Yep.
Right? So does that mean if a child consensually goes, you know what, I think I want alcohol, does the law go, well, you asked for it,
right.
You know what?
Right.
And I'm sorry you got in an accident, but you asked for it. It doesn't work that way.
I want to drive when I'm 14. No, you're right.
It doesn't work that way. So the beautiful thing about this meeting that we had with these teenage girls was they took a stance on their own.
Yep.
There was a 14-year-old that even spoke in front of her school group, used whatever the writing. Yeah, so she had to write a persuasive paper kind of a thing, present it to the class, and she talked about her abuse.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
She had other kids coming up to her going, I've got the same thing going on.
Yeah.
One thing that we've shared about this Me Too, and again, I think Me Too needs to be, it's too weak of a word right now.
Oh, yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah, it's overused, but yeah, I get it.
It is.
It's brand new, but it's overused. Yeah, I get it.
And you know what? And you talked about this on another podcast. I mean, psychically, if it takes Hollywood to come forward where people pay attention, because I don't know that people would pay attention with somebody down the road.
No, they won't. Well, it takes something, a big fish needs to fall for people to go, we're going to listen from now on.
Yeah.
And we've just started. This is just the tip of the iceberg, y'all. there's going to be a lot more people at the top fall because they are predatorial. You know, I don't know if anybody knows this. I've looked in the news. I think there's one station that covered this story. But, golly, in April, okay, Gloria Allred. Gloria Allred's a pretty big attorney.
Oh, yeah.
She's a phenomenal lady, okay? She's in her 70s. The girl just goes. I think she eats this fish, by the way. I think she likes fish.
She's smart. She gets those omegas.
Omega oils. So, but here's what happened. So there's a case in Utah County that's taken 7 years to get to trial. Very high-profile, expensive defense lawyer. And we've got some people that are high up in the Mormon church. 7
years with an expensive attorney that do you think the perpetrator goes, you know what, I'm going to drag this out and make the other team broke?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. So, wow. And you know, you got a single mom on one end with an ex-husband on the other. And so, you know, we got 7 years down the road and we got a sweetheart deal. This guy got a sweetheart deal at Utah County. So basically he'd molested his stepdaughter for 2 years. And she finally tells, she's 11, she's a little girl. She finally tells mommy, they get divorced, police get called, etc. Finds out that he'd done this to his sisters, but went on a mission after he said he was sorry and they said prayer and he'd all been forgiven. He went on a mission, came home, married a woman with 4 children. And of course, the perpetrator's going to pick women with children, okay? But he liked kids apparently. They have 2 other children, so there's a lot of kids here. Long story short, you know, this abuse happens, they get divorced. 7 years later, it finally gets to trial because, bless the mom's heart, she never let it go. And there was a phone call made to Gloria Allred because when the plea deal came in, this was the plea deal. He's molested this girl for 2 years. He's getting a slap on the wrist, and the slap on the wrist was no jail time, no fine, and did not have to register as a sex offender. He was pleading down to some sort of misdemeanor charge. And that he was...
Based on what?
Based on
a good attorney
the money that was spent on that attorney, and the judge and the prosecutor and the attorney all kind of did a little kumbaya moment, and they got it all.
They just want to get it over with.
That's it.
Okay, you've got a child and a family involved.
Oh, her life. Yeah.
2 years of nightmare torture.
And she's been told, you're just attention seeking. What's wrong with you? You need therapy. And all the family that knew this guy was a pervert who abused his sisters has his back.
Nobody said a word to the incoming wife with the 4 kids. Nobody said, hey, you know, Joe Schmo has repented and he loves Jesus and everything's fine, but I just want you to know. Listen, she deserved to know so she can make a decision. Do I want my children?
Right.
Listen, that decision for me would have been like, oh, hell no.
You're dang right.
Yeah.
So this is what happened. So Gloria Allred somehow gets wind of this, and I know who called her. I mean, I know how this happened, but I don't want to say names just yet. But Gloria Allred gets a phone call, and she says, well, you pay for my flight out there, and I'll be out there. What time is the hearing? She showed up. She walked in the courtroom right before that trial, before that settlement hearing, and it just so happened that the judge and everybody knew who she was. Surprising, right? So the deal's off the table. He thought he was walking in there, going to sign something and go home that day, and this was all behind him. Nope. He went to jail. Now, it was only for 90 days, y'all. He needs 90 years as far as I'm concerned. He went for 90 days. He does have to register as a sex offender, and he does have to pay a fine. Now, and I do think...
And he has restrictions now that he cannot be around...
That's right. Can't be around children.
Yeah.
And I do think that they need to sue him civilly. This guy's got deep pockets. Just to pay for her therapy costs. Are you kidding me? And the attorney how long they took
7 years
to get this case
to
get trial.
You know what? And if Gloria Allred had not stepped in,
this is the scary thing.
Such an insult to the victim.
Well, let me tell you the scariest part of this. The family, that has his back, they own daycares here in Arizona. They have a lot of daycares. These are children under age 7, and he's over the reading programs. He manages the reading centers. This is in Arizona and in Utah. How many other victims are there? This is what scares the shit out of me. So if this wouldn't have happened, he wouldn't have got labeled, okay? And I'm telling you, there's just some synergy around this. You just feel God's hand in motion here when all these different little things happen to really make that known in that moment, and then just how I've got involved. There's just so many things that have happened. I think that there's some force really trying to bring these creeps out.
You know, I
pray when he gets out of jail.
I hear those victory stories, and I am more than happy.
Well, he's going to get out of jail, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to go a little nutty. But
because 90 days to me, you know what? You can't reform. If prison or jail is all about reforming, it's not happening in 90 days.
And it's just jail. It's not prison.
He abused that particular child for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, some of these perpetrators that I've seen, what their pattern is. I mean, I know this for a fact. They've got boxes of Lortab. They've got painkillers. Okay, I mean, thousands of pills. No kidding. And they're just, this is storage. I was in a predator's home. I know what he had. He had handcuffs, he had fake badges, and he had Lortab and duct tape. And he drives around with this Yukon. He's a single guy. Who needs a Yukon? Okay, so this is what scares me. I know the pattern. Let's give him a milkshake, have him come in, play with our kids. They get dopey on this pill, infested milkshake.
Date rape drug.
Date rape, yeah, probably.
I mean, whatever you want to, whatever the drug is, it's the same cause.
Absolutely.
It's for the same reason.
Well, and they pass out, okay? And then whatever happens, and then they come to and they don't know it. Oh, you just woke up. Oh, time for you to go home, honey. This makes me sick. But this is what these creeps do. And the scary thing is the dark web, pictures, cameras, just video. I've had too much experience recently in the last 3 years with kids that have been trafficked. What's going on there? It nauseates me. And people don't want to talk about it because it's a scary subject and it's awful and it happens over there. No, it's happening right here, y'all. It's happening right here in Provo, Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, so you know what? And that's just it. If you don't think it's happening,
Go
online and search out sex offenders that have registered in your neighborhood.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, those are the ones who have been.
I've done this.
Let
me tell you something.
Those are the ones that have been busted. That does not mean it's not happening.
You're right.
I know of a case where, the teenage girl had the courage to come forward, met with a detective twice.
Yeah.
Back in January. The case has been before the DA, and the DA still hasn't made a decision yet.
Oh my God.
There are many things flawed.
You know that tells that little girl, you shouldn't have told, because here she's told.
I don't believe you. You're not worth it.
And the parent knows she's told. Whoever the perpetrator knows she's told. So now there's been crap going on with that.
Yeah.
I did a study, a research on the sex offenders registry, and I couldn't believe this. In Draper, where I'm at, it's like there's 144, registered offenders. In Lehigh, 2,600. I'm like, from Salt Lake County to Utah County, and then it just got more
that's
and more
about
and more.
a 25-minute drive.
Right. Oh, if that. It's just literally over the point of the mountain. But I'm thinking, but Utah County has a ton shit of offenders. Lehigh was enormous. It blew my mind.
I literally.
And that's where this one guy is that I know. He's a convicted pedophile. Right. He admitted it. He took a plea deal. Yeah.
But if you do go on and you do a neighborhood search, it'll ask you within a 15-mile radius, and you can get it down to literally your block. You would be surprised.
Oh, it's disgusting. Well, and anywhere you move, you should do that. Mothers should do that.
Oh,
fathers should
every
do that.
time my kids had a new coach,
Yep.
a new scoutmaster,
you looked it
a
up.
new whatever, I always was looking up. Come to find out, there was a neighbor, and this is weird. So there was a neighbor in an old neighborhood that I lived in, married, 4 of his own kids, right?
Right.
Did construction on the side. Above his detached garage, he built a playroom. Now, in the basement, when he finished his basement, he built a maze of rooms. Okay? So the kids thought, oh, this is kind of fun. Like you go down this little maze, and here's a room full of Barbie stuff. And you go, and the neighborhood kids were like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. This is so cool. Come to find out, he was arrested and is a registered sex offender. And I found out by doing a search, and I was like,
oh my hell.
We have had barbecues. We had him over. Gosh. My kids have been over there.
See, it grosses me out. But that's how these guys are. I had some clients in my office yesterday, and there's a 25-year-old boy that's been arrested, and he's back in the family home where there's minors. And I'm looking at the mother, and I'm like, I want to smack you. How are you letting this happen?
Yeah. People, family members that protect a predator.
Well, they are. They're family members. That's the problem. They're loved.
Yeah.
And I have compassion for loving that. I get it. But you can't let them be around children.
Love means get them help. Yeah, get them help
and
separate the situation, because here's the deal. I don't think enough people realize that a sexual predator, that is a diseased person.
That's right. That's right.
You know what? They are not thinking with a full deck. They don't have a conscience. They don't have any other motive than their own desire. And so, they can act wonderful. Oh my gosh, let me help you.
Oh, they're the best.
Fix your dishwasher. Let me.
They overgive. And they're good at everything. They can fix anything you want. You bet they can.
Right.
Yeah. As they sit
They're
there and
the model
groom
citizen.
They groom everybody. You know, when you're that person, you have to live a lie. You learn how to lie very, very, very well. Because if people knew who you really were, they'd kill you.
Right.
You're a child rapist.
Okay, but that brings us to
harmer.
When we talked about pedophiles in prison. They would kill you. Let them be killed then, I say.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
We need to change a lot. Look, this took 7 years for that one cute girl. Okay, and then the other girl is dealing
7 years for 90 days.
For 90 days. And he needs, again, I'm sure there's more. And when the news comes out and the name is spoken, okay, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of people. I'll keep you updated. I am hoping that Gloria Allred comes back to town, and there's some more accountabilities getting, dealt out with people that are abusing here.
We talked another time. I don't know if it was on a podcast, but one problem that's happening that finally attorneys are trying to call out is the Mormon Church. There's a protocol that if there's a sin, you go before your bishop and you confess your sin, and then they decide what's going to happen. So you get these young kids, girl or female, right, or even an adult, but a situation where there's been abuse. They go before a bishop, and the bishop goes, "Well, let's just pray about it."
Yeah, you need to forgive them.
You know what? I've talked to the whoever it is, right? And they are remorseful. They're sorry. So what we need to do now is we need to just forgive and we need to move on. Here's the problem.
It's a crime.
It is a crime. You've got a child that is depending upon their ecclesiastical authority for help.
Well, and just an adult authority. I mean,
well, I know, but they're taught.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this one is your father of the church.
Yeah, I can go to him
before
and tell him anything. He works for God.
Right? And when he slams the story down that took, I don't know how much courage for that child to come forward, or maybe the mother or the father of a victim, that, And so you've got a situation where there's a couple cases here in Utah where the attorneys are saying, Mormon leaders, here's what you need to understand. You are not the law.
Right.
And if you hear a situation that is against the law, it is your duty to report. And if you don't, you will be held with charges.
Be held accountable.
Yes, because you were covering up a crime.
Well, it's a mandated reporting. I'm a mandated reporter. They are mandated reporters. If they hear of a crime against the elderly, against a child, or some sort of computer fraud, they have to report it. Now, and it's going to have to take a case. They're going to have to implicate the Mormon Church where the bishops knew about things. I know 5 cases right now. The bishops knew. They were told. They were sat down. The bishops heard the whole story and did nothing. In fact, some of them said, "We don't believe you." Okay, right?
To the child?
To the child. He was told, "We don't believe you. You're lying."
You know what? And it makes me wonder,
because they know the father. They know the perpetrator.
If the perpetrator is paying tithing,
right,
do they want to piss that off and the money goes dry? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's the what? If you are a messenger, which I don't believe, but if you're a messenger between God and your congregation,
right,
why would you say to a child, "I don't believe you," or "You're just seeking attention"?
Right.
Right?
I agree.
To me, you say, "You know what? Let me get you a handful of counselors that are professionals."
Well, let's go on the phone. Let's go. They should call the police themselves and say, "Look, I've heard something."
No, I know. I agree with that. But I'm just saying, no way in their right should they ever say, "You know what? Let's just forgive."
Yeah, we'll handle it.
What would Jesus want you to do?
Let's handle it in our little congregation, and let's not tell anybody.
No, and there's another problem with the police department at BYU.
Oh, well, the Tribune has sued BYU.
The Tribune is a big newspaper here.
Yeah, local paper here, because they want some transparency. Yeah, you're right. There's 2 separate polices. We have our local police, and then we have campus police,
which is it's common. I mean, there's a lot of universities that have campus police.
Yeah, BYU is a private school. I went there too. Yeah.
However, what's happening is the BYU police is keeping what they want to be quiet and to be held silent from other law enforcement or from the public. You don't get the right to do that.
No.
A crime is a crime.
Well, and I'm not sure what there's a female judge, I can't remember her name, that took this, and it's under advisement. I'm sure she'll come out within the next week or so and give us the verdict on what she's going to do with it. But I agree, it's a double standard. They can't keep this own little private recording and not tell the rest of the local police what their crimes are.
Because they are covering up.
They don't want people to know what happens down at BYU, so they can keep the members coming.
Right.
This is all about keeping business in their door, y'all. Now,
at the expense of victims, and I know, I know that I'm sure a lot of these officers are doing their job. However, Camille, and I'm not comparing a human to a dog. I'm just taking a situation. If you ran over somebody's pet, you as a human would go before the owner and say, I did this. I'm so sorry.
Right.
Like you would make it accountable. What can I do? Oh my gosh, I can't. What can I do? At least own up to it. Okay. When you have a college student, maybe they're living away from home. Maybe this is their first time away from home, and something happens where a perpetrator commits a crime.
I've seen this. This has been a couple of my clients.
And what do we tell our children? You go to the police.
Authorities.
So here's an on-campus police, and you're going to do, because you're going to want some help and some protection.
And nothing happens. That's exactly what happened. This little girl was raped by multiple athletes. Same night, okay? We call it gang rape.
We have to protect the athletes.
Well, she's left the school now. But
but I'm just saying in general, nationwide, you protect the sport that brings in money to the school.
Well, there were a couple of players that actually got kicked off the team, thank God. But this still ruined her little life. She's a freshman. She's 19. She's innocent. And here's what you were drinking. You were underage and you were drinking.
Because there's not a code and you broke it. So you kind of asked for it, which is
so she's
typical.
Got campus. What do they call that? That is she's got her own.
Oh, like a jurisdiction. I mean, like a jury, right?
Right. Yeah. They've done their own little investigation on campus, and they've determined that she's breached her ethical and moral duty to God because she was drinking. So she's breached the word of wisdom. So and I'm like, so that made it okay?
Wait,
I've seen her.
So the guys that committed the rapes, is that a moral code?
Well, they denied it. There's no evidence. This is again.
I just got lit.
I know. But here's this little poor thing, and she's just amazing. She's survived. She's changed her major. She's into journalism now, and she's going to report on campus rapes.
Good.
So this changed her life, and I'll tell you what she did do. She went and got a tattoo. I said, "Look, this isn't the end of you, sugar. This is the beginning of you. Yeah. There is something going to come out of you that's going to be beneficial. You will be grateful at some point for this horrible experience." But she tattooed that "My misery is my ministry" on her hip.
Oh, good Lord, good
and
for her.
And it's changed her life for the better. But that's what you have to do with this kind of crap. Is you have to don't let it ruin you or stop you.
There was a question.
But I hope the campus police have to report the rest of it. Just saying.
Why should they?
Why should they hide the sins of these people?
Because then they're not police. If you ask me, what are they? Are they just security guards for what? To make sure you don't toilet paper the trees?
Well, it's their little private world, and they can. This is what
money.
The last conference, there was someone screaming at the back of the room, "Stop protecting sexual predators." This guy was escorted out. But he was screaming out at the back of the church. Did you see that? Yeah. There was a video of that. Yeah. Someone's going to have to, like the Catholic. The Catholic Church went through this little revolution. Well, I think the Mormon Church is going to have their own little moments too.
Well, how many years was it reported that scout leaders were molesting on overnight campouts?
Right.
The Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts or whatever the age is that goes on these overnights. Right. How many years was that reported and it was covered up? Finally, as of last week, the Mormon Church pulls out of the Boy Scouts of America altogether. I don't know how many years they've been involved. Like they were the
best thing that ever happened to them.
But I'm Boy Scouts of America.
Exactly.
Yeah, because there were so many cover-ups. So many cover-ups. And to me, I think to myself, parents, if you are in an organization of a religion, I don't care what it is. I mean, you think about David Koresh. You think about these cults
all the Catholic priests,
all this kind of stuff. That in the name of God, in the name of fear of people finding out, I'm going to cover up what abuse has happened to a child. You run. That is not of God. There is no way on earth that Jesus would go, I approve of that.
No.
Here's what I always say.
No.
Whatever happened If you saw that in public, would you just sit and let it happen, or would you go get a help and authority to come? Of course.
No kidding.
Right?
Right.
So when you have a 16-year-old that's being raped by a prosecutor, and if we were in public and we saw that, would we go, oh, you know what, she gave consent, it's okay? We would not.
No.
I'm yelling, I know that.
Yeah, Gretchen, you can yell all you want about this because I'm okay with that. This is upsetting to me. It's upsetting to a lot of people out there. And I'll tell you what, I do believe that we have just seen the tip of the iceberg. There is going to be a lot more people tumble and fall. And I don't believe that any organization, not the Catholic Church, not the Mormons, no religion, no organization, not BYU, no one would want to be protecting these predators. But unless they get ahead of this and say, we are going to start policing and managing ourselves, and yeah, we're going to be transparent, let the world know. That's how they keep members. When they do this cover-up thing, doesn't that just turn your stomach out? Every one of these girls that told the bishop, and the bishop did not a damn fucking thing, okay? Every one of them are leaving the church. That's exactly what's going to happen. How many families are they losing? Their membership, that's what their biggest fear is. Can't let this get out. Because if it gets out, we're going to lose membership. That's what I really think would drive this.
It tells
who
you
them anyway.
are.
Right.
My gosh, if you can't even be honest about a crime, much less something else, why the hell would anyone want to go before any bishop of any organized religion and go, I'm going to pour my soul out. This is what I did.
Right.
Only to know that, you know what, you're being judged.
Right.
And I'm sorry, that is not, Jesus did that for us. That is not, that is no human's, much less a man's position to say, you know, this and that. Heck, I remember when I was getting divorced, you know, my bishop was like, well, you know, you are expected to act like a 16-year-old.
Sugar. I was disfellowshipped because I got divorced. My ex got my neighbor pregnant. And because I got divorced
Who
over
was
that.
your best friend.
Right. Yeah, but I'm excommunicated. I'm disfellowshipped. I wasn't ever excommunicated. And this was an older guy. He was in his 80s. I'm like, Bishop, would you expect me to stay married to a man and babysit his kid, his little girl that's not mine? Would you really want me to stay married to this guy? Well, you are technically divorcing. Now, a later date phone call came in because I went, I'm not coming back for a while.
Well, why should you, right?
So then I get a younger bishop come in. We've read your file, and I what's going on? Well, let me tell you what happened. He said, oh, no, that should have never happened. There's no consistency, okay? But I had such a bad taste in my mouth, so I'm like, I'm just not ready to come back, Bishop.
Yeah. Yeah, and that
of
was
course I'm
100 years
divorced,
ago,
you
and that's
idiots. Not stupid.
You know, I just think any religion, you need to think for yourself. You know, you just can't rely on. And I remember my granny. You know, she used to send money out to evangelists all over the world.
Oh my God.
And she would go to these big revivals, hoping that they would call her down to the stage amongst a lot of other people and get healed. I'm gonna blow on you, and all of a sudden you're healed. You know.
Thank you, Jesus.
Can I tell you that happened to my mom? She had back issues. She goes on stage. They blow on her. She collapses. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. 2 weeks later, she's in bed because her back's a mess.
Oh my God.
But it cost them money to go to the revival.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And they're donating money to these guys.
Yes. Oh my granny, she spent so much money. And that was back with Jimmy Swaggart. I have sinned. Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy, and he went to prison too. Look, I'm going to say
Jim
this.
Baker.
Jim Baker.
Yeah.
Look, there is something I'll mention about religion. I think religion's time is up. Here's why. The Air Force, and this is totally off topic, but the Air Force came out a couple months back and they actually admitted that they deal with UFOs on a routine basis and that they are real. Now, y'all, you watch these things, no official records ever said they are real. It's always, that's a weather balloon. That wasn't real. If the Air Force is coming out acknowledging UFOs exist, what the hell are they getting ahead of? This is what I'm wondering now. And with the Uranus hitting Taurus, look, all this stuff, now it sounds like Swahili I'm saying, but here's the deal. All these things, the technology is going to be amazing. Before we could fly, we didn't think we could fly. We will be traveling to space on a routine basis in the next 50 years. We will.
Do they have Walmarts there?
I wonder if they have Walmart there. Maybe. But anyway, so yeah, $500,000. Stuff on Walmart.
I'm gonna go to Mars and grab some milk, kids. I'll be right back.
Right. But here's what I'm wondering: if there is alien life, and why I can't. This universe is so damn big. I can't believe there's not other life forms, and our origins are not of what we read in our Bible, okay, or the Book of Mormon or something. If we are found out to know that there's other life that exists on that planet, religion's up for expiration. We might graduate religion, y'all. I'm going to leave y'all with that thought. It's kind of crazy to think about, but what if we have a visitor, alien visitor?
You know what? And you think about the planets that we know of.
Yeah.
Right? Why are we the only ones with life?
We can't be.
And who's to say, I mean, who's to say that life looks like an alien? We don't know that. That's just Hollywood going,
right.
We need to have an object to put with the idea of what we're talking about.
Green, big-eyed
so that they look different than us. Then you as a viewer can go, oh, that's the alien and that's the human. Right. We don't know.
We don't know what they look like. We're aliens to them.
Why are we, you know what? And to me, I think, why are we so worried about it? Like,
well, what are they trying to control? But is it the truth? Is the truth coming out? Because you got to look at the power plays on this earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and look where power plays. You said it.
Yeah.
You said it. You said it. You said it.
Yeah.
We've got turmoil happening within the human race.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we are out of control.
In domination and control.
Yeah. And so we can't even take care of our own race.
No.
Why the hell are we so concerned about an alien?
Because if they could have the truth of where we really came from and what's really needs to happen to get us set straight, and then the power bases are going to be rocked to their core because they can't control with money anymore. So if the truth comes out, it sets people free. And then they aren't slaves and they're not running around making money for the Rockefellers or the Morgans or whatever. So
you hear that?
Yeah.
That is Jesus confirming what Camille is saying. Shock
talking.
I know, y'all, I have a feeling we are not done with this subject. You know why? Because every week there's something else that fucking comes up that I just go.
I love that she can swear now. I'm going to tell you, this little mama. Gretchen never said fuck, cunt, shit, or nothing when I met her.
I still don't say the C word. You know that.
She won't say
that just makes me go, woo.
Sorry.
No, you know what?
It makes me giggle when I hear her be self-expressed. Anyway.
But here's why we started Shock Talking, because you and I have worked on network TV for so long. I still do. And you are controlled, and I get it. There's manners, y'all. You have to be a certain way.
They don't want to hear me say that.
When Camille and I talk about real life, that's how we are. So part of this podcast
just being real.
is as if you and the two of us were talking, we would talk this way.
That's right.
You know, it's conversation, it's opinions. Y'all, we are not the experts. Well,
no.
but we are not the experts. But we are just sharing opinions that matter to us, that affect us, that don't affect us, but we are interested in.
And someday my great-great-grandchildren might go, there's Granny on TV.
She has a big cha-cha, didn't she?
She was crazy.
She goes, I got my cha-chas from her. You are Nala, or do you want me to call you Sarabi?
I'll be Sarabi.
Camille last week was like, I'm a lioness.
Don't ever call me grandma. Anyway, that is like a big thing. Like, oh.
Hey, we appreciate y'all being with us. You know what? Leave us a comment. Even if it's negative, we'll just delete it. No, I'm kidding. But you know what? Interaction is important, because if you have an opinion, or you feel like we are totally off the rocker, or you agree, hey, you know what? We're happy to discuss.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Bye. Have a good one.